time and that, but I wasn't very big then.
I remember one time I pulled up behind the stage down there with the show that was going to put on, and an old Model A Ford, and I had a suit on. I don't know why, but did. And that rain, it started raining. I mean, it rained. And I looked down there, I had a flat tire on my old Model A, and me as a suit. No, exactly.
Did you have a spare?
That was way back.
Did you have a spare?
I don't remember. I suppose I did.
You probably had a suit on because you had a date.
Yep, we've had some awful good times.
I remember my dad sold a cow and bought me a Model A Ford four-door when I was in high school. And coming home from town with this car, he said, if this breaks down, he said, who's going to fix it? Well, I kind of thought with the tone of his voice that I did. And I said, no, Lou. He said, you will.
Was Saturday night date night then to come down here?
Oh, yeah, it was big night. Big night.
Dressed up.
Everybody's dressed up.
Everybody in Vinland dated.
Right. Everybody dressed up, and as soon as...
even this guy right here.
Every Saturday night.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a long history now of the talent contest, the talent show. When did that start? Was that right from the...
We actually had a talent show years ago.
When Pauletta was little, it was about the time it started, because I remember her
and
Audrey
was singing or something. But I know one night Herb come over and he said, we got trouble. And I said, what's your trouble? He said, Arden Booth was supposed to come and MC the talent show, and he said, he called and he can't come. And he said, would you do it? And I said, well, I've tried, And then I don't know whether that was the year that Jack Wiseman was helping or not, but anyhow, we had a talent show. It was a different situation.
And that was on the old wooden stage?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember about that, but it might have been, too.
I believe it probably was.
It might have been.
But when Pauletta and Audrey sang, that was the old wooden stage.
Was it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was when it was.
That would have been that time.
Yeah. I can't remember just when we got this new stage kick. But, to build that thing on that concrete and dirt, and I don't think it's got a crack in it today.
Well, it shouldn't have, should it?
I wondered, did
So we've talked about the tractor pull several times, but you mentioned just a few minutes ago that the sleds have changed, and there's a lot of modern technology associated with the sled. But I think about the fact that the thing that has changed is the type of tractor that you're getting. And when you guys first put that together, Jack, I'm guessing you had sold quite a few of the tractors that went through there.
All the field tractors.
Yeah. Who all do you remember pulling down there, Jack?
Brothers pulled down there for years. Bill.
Bill
I think
Saile.
Bob did. Bill took a lot of prizes.
Yes, he did. I know.
He was an old man from Tonga,
Yeah. Dunbar pulled an M farm on.
Yeah, and that old man pulled against me all the time, and it just like that.
Right.
And he finally got so he'd drain the transmission oil out of that thing to make it way lighter, so we got on the phone and we put it back in.
There you go.
Yeah. But that was before they souped up these tractors. When they done that, everybody quit. Yeah.
But when we had people riding, we couldn't use too heavy a tractor because we didn't have weight. And we'd set a tractor on one of the small tractors, like a small Ford or something like that, for added weight, and then people step on. I remember when Dean and some of his buddies come out there one time, and he was with Carl, what's his name?
Right.
No. Out there, John Deere people out there by west on 2440. But anyhow, he had a 4010 John Deere, and them guys don't have to win them because the Internationals didn't win them. So he let the air out of his tires, and he pulled the lugs on his tires, pulled the bars on them, had to go buy a new set of tires before he could go back to the field to work.
Oh, for God's sake.
Gans, Carl. But these new mechanical sleds, they're a completely different situation, and it is, they can change that, and they have the weights and everything where that they move them back and forth, and the tractors pull it now, and the antique tractor pull, those tractors are, some of the tractors, one nose Jack has been those little B farmhalls. Little B Alice tractors. Little B Alice and C Alice. The CA Alice and the old WCs.
WDs mostly.
And then the WDs, yeah. I remember when I was a kid that Ross Stone had, his team was Barney and Jack. They had a horse and a mule, and he traded them into models for a steel wheel WC Alice. And then in later years, he got rubber tires for that sucker.
So Ross Stone's working herd consisted of a horse and a
That's
mule.
that time.
Yeah, that's what he used for steam.
Yeah, I see.
And I know Ross told me one time I carried water for a thrashing crew for George Hoskison for years, 2 or 3 years or whatever. And Ross said, well, he said, I don't have as pretty a team as any, as some of them maybe. He said, but they'll haul the bundles into the thrashing machine. Talk about thrashing reminds me of Les Day and what's his name, Mary Fay, Rawl, Les and Rawl. One of those days it was just probably over 100 degrees, I don't know, but it's just stifling hot. They had bundles stacked way high up there, you couldn't hardly see them, and everybody else had gone to the shade. And the Day brothers told these guys, said, well, if you guys hadn't drank that iced tea for lunch and drank hot coffee like we did, you'd be out here working. And I also remember when I come home from service, I was helping guys single-handed haul bundles in for silage, to make silage out of. And I was riding Murray's drawbar on a VAC case. And we was out there by just west of Floyd Smith's, coming just past that bridge. And I was riding on the drawbar, and we'd loaded a load of bundles on there. And I was hanging on the seat, riding on the drawbar. I guess that'd be illegal today, but anyhow. Murray said, you know, he said, Bill Rice had a tractor like this, and he said, the front end broke off on that thing one time, and we didn't get as far near their white pickup, and the front end broke out from underneath that one. We was lucky we didn't get hurt.
I remember we was out here filling silos, same way with bundles.
Yeah, those
Overseas Hagerman was loading, had a big load of bundles on him, and we had to ford the creek, had to cross the creek with that load of bundles.
Oh, my.
Get out to Cliff Anderson's there. And old Cease had a big load on there, and he got down there and hit the bottom of that, and that whole load came up on him. And old Cease come falling out of them bundles, spitting in the customers. He was stuck in the bottom of the crook.
Hello, Lassie.
Oh,
You got a friend.
Goodness.
Another time, Ob and Cease was combining right there in that field. And Ob had told me this. And they both had a John Deere combine. They were going around the field. And old Cease was running one of them, and he lost the whole back wheel. And he went crawling around till he met Ob again. Ob could shut him down. He got a leg in the back of him. Now, I got memories around here of fair. Yep.
How important was it to win or to place? You know, to be how important was it to win down at the fair?
Oh, it was a big honor in those days. That's a big deal.
You bet.
But everybody knew everybody in those days, you know. There wasn't very few strangers ever coming here that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Once you sit down. Yeah, I remember we showed cattle down there. I don't know, ever since I'd come home from service in '47, and then a few years later than that, I had a heifer calf that I'd raised, a Holstein heifer. I told Phyllis, I said, well, I'm going to take that heifer down with the shorthorn heifer to short first. She said, you got her halter broke. I said, no, but I've got all morning. I said, I'm going to tie her in the pickup and then we unload her. So we took her down there, and when we started coming into the show ring with her, she's walking on her knees. And when we showed against, what's Roger's name? Roger's Thorn's registered Holstein, because the fair book said bulls have to be registered, but unregistered females can be shown. So Bob, I know, was watching that, and she was quite a heifer. He said, Gibler, I think if you get your heifer to walk instead of crawling her knees, she might win. And she did. And Roger Thorne never come back to Vinland Fair again to show. He was really put out. Oh my. Yeah, the kids used to have quite a time, all the kids in the community showing their 4-H calves. Everything. And then
About the time Ron and Pauletta was showing, there was a lot of them. There was Bixby's and Fonz's. They had Bartle and had them outside.
a lot of
Oh, boy, we've had some good times, right?
Yes, we have.
Good times.
Yes.
Well, we don't want to keep you all night.
You're talking about the Grange Fair and then the community fair has been a part of your life since you were kids.
Right.
It's changed a lot, but what do you think keeps it going? Why does it still seem to be such a big community event?
Maybe it's tradition, or maybe a lot of the people who are doing it now have come back to the grassroots, and they like it that way. That we didn't know any different years ago. I mean, that's just how life was, you know.
But you know, I think
And I
that
think there's a group of people that kind of are searching for that.
I think that people are just kind of going back, kind of like you said a while ago, that they're the second generation's kind of going back, you know, to the being more country oriented, you know, and maybe they're tired of living in town. Maybe, I don't know, want to move to the country, you know.
Slow living down a little bit. We're living pretty fast nowadays.
Well, back in those days, the people that came to the fair, it'd be pretty hard to find anyone that wasn't related to somebody else. It'd be pretty hard. Everybody was entwined around Vinland here somewhere, some way. And, well, everybody just knew everybody in those days, you know. Now I don't know anybody.
I
down
don't
around
know
here.
any of that when you come to the fair.
I don't. I don't.
Yes, Paul and Arliss Watkins always said that they were the only ones that
Wasn't
Lila and I
relation.
could have married because everybody else was related.
I said that, you know, I said, after all, I said, everybody relation around Vinland except Arlie and I, so I
Well,
said,
that was about the truth.
I said, we got some new blood in the community.
And that's why I think it was such a success, is because everyone had the same idea. They came here to have a good time.
Well, there was no other where to go.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
that's true.
not too
I
much,
mean,
but
yeah.
oh, you went to the Pattie and Long for a dime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been down that road.
Is that something you want to pursue? What's this Pattie? I don't know this.
Used to be a
theater
Pattie
on
theater
Main
there
Street.
in Lawrence years ago,
You go up there
just
for a
north of
dollar, you
Amix
could,
Barber Shop.
You go to the show and get something to eat afterwards for a
Yeah.
dollar.
This is
Yeah.
off of the fair, but as a kid, I grew up, and everybody came to Vinland
Oh, mercy.
to shop on Saturday night, and everybody sat out in front. Us kids just walked the ball. That was the Saturday night recreation.
But I think that is really the reason that it has been such a success through the years, is because everybody was almost related to someone, and they all had the same idea. They came here just to have a good time.
Everybody wanted to get out their best watermelon, their best
Yeah,
pumpkin,
yeah.
you know, and the best
Everybody
bundle of
behind it.
soybeans, corn, whatever else, you know.
Yeah. We've done a lot of things down around there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Also, I think that gladly took the prize money because there wasn't much money back
There
a long
wasn't.
time
That's
ago.
right. There just wasn't.
Yeah, I know the Greens used to ask us a couple of 3 years there, would you want to just turn the money you won in premiums back to the Grange so that we could have enough money to run a fair next year?
That's what they tried to do, is have
Right.
enough back to run the next
Run it
year's
the next
fair.
year.
Yeah. I remember Fred Godstein was treasurer, and old Fred would leave his checkbook in the trunk of his car or else at home, and Hubert would have to make him go get it to pay the bill. That's how we had to skimp on money.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but nobody knew they didn't have money. I mean, that's the way of life, you know. You
They
didn't.
always had enough to make put the next fair on.
Right.
Well,
Yeah. But they didn't give very big prizes. They couldn't.
No. Of course, I always the grand champion bull overall got $5 that was donated by Rumsey's funeral home.
But I can remember when Rumsey's, there wasn't any deals like we've got today. If you got sick or died,
Went
Rumsey
to
would come and
Rumsey's.
take you to the hospital free of charge. They didn't charge you nothing. They used to own this farm right out here north of Fred Godson
Yeah.
years ago. My folks lived there. And that Rumsey, they furnish free service like that to people that needed to go to the hospital or people that died, whatever. They come all in.
Didn't have ambulance service, and that was the only funeral home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only funeral home lunch.
But
I
that
remember.
was another service that was done around Vinland here because they
Lived down
used to
there.
live in this community. See.
Right. I remember one time we was Phyllis's dad and I was in the family car coming out. I don't know whether it was Uncle John or
You were full there.
and I was a pallbearer and riding there with Rumsey's and Nick told him, he said, I'll tell you one thing. He said, if we don't stop this, he said, you ain't gonna have no more of our family to bury because we're about to run out.
But that was a nice thing they did for the community. Now it probably cost $150 for any phone to get them.
Well, we happen to have
We had an ambulance van here one time.
I had that
150
injury.
couldn't touch it if you didn't have insurance.
Called 911 to come get me. Sitting out there, looked like a hot dog you poured ketchup on.
I don't know whether they call that progress or not. It used to be free.
Yeah, must be.
There's probably a lot of things. A lot of things we've all forgot.
Yeah.
But I think that they have for the kids, I think those have really been the thing that got the community involved. I know our two grandkids from Kansas City came up and here, 2 or 3 years ago, our youngest grandson, he was interested in the ball throw because he's a ball fiend, I guess. He plays 3 times in sports. So every time a kid would come up and throw the ball, so he'd just, go ahead. Have them go ahead of him. And he'd watch, see how far the ball went. So he was the last one to throw, so he just throwed about 5 or no need of doing any extra, you know.
Yeah, I think they used to have kids racing back
Oh,
there
yeah.
back quite a way.
Tied leg, had three-legged races.
I remember when they had that horse show. That horse show would run till 10, 11 o'clock at night. But Vinland had to go to bed at 6 o'clock. So they all kept stopping to the sand and everything else and go home.
Yeah, that's right.
Pull the door of the barn shut.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
Lock
right.
the door and everything.
That's
The horse
what
show's
happened.
still going on.
Yeah, I know. Old Gilbert and I always had to stay there and be sure the lights was shut out when they got done, you know. Oh, yeah.
Well, the tractor pulls would last until 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Many a time. I don't know. I was, what, was it last year that I was due to go in the next day or 2 days later to get a new knee replacement? So I kind of told them I'd go for a while. So I went to 11:15.
You know what they could have down there? You're in the tractor deal. Roller barrel in front of them tractors.
Do what now?
To roll a barrel.
Oh,
I see it on television quite a lot.
smaller tractors, right?
Maybe an old 50-gallon barrel.
Yeah.
Roll
Get
it.
started and get moving.
Yeah, whoever can get it across the line first, he
Yeah,
won.
that might work.
Yeah.
Something new.
Right.
Sure, they need something new.
Yeah,
They
they
haven't
do.
seen nothing for 50 years.
Yeah.